Hey, what's going on, Jets fans? Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Yes, where the hell was I? I don't know. It's good to be with all of you on this Sunday evening, and we're going to be talking Jets, not just staring at my frozen face on the screen. What's going on, everybody? Sorry, that was a little bit of a, it throws you off. Whenever stuff like that happens, you cannot prepare for it. And when it hits you, you just got to be ready. What's going on, Aaron? Good to see you in the chats. We got Steven Engel. He's saying, let's go Lightning, rubbing it into those Rangers fans. I do not know if this is a yes or no question. I think it is. So we'll talk about that tonight. That'll be one of the things that we discuss. And it's great to see you, Harry, by the way. So the question that he's alluding to is the poll question. And it's the, do you like the Jets 30 to 35 snap rule for the defensive line? Yes, you like it, or no, you don't like it. Before I get any further, guys, I just want to let you know that this is supposed to be the live call-in show. And the way that works is you go ahead and you DM me on Instagram or on Twitter, and I will send you a link to the show, and you get to join me, and we can discuss anything related to the New York Jets that you want to discuss. I'm happy to listen to a question, a take, or just an overall topic that you want to discuss regarding our beloved New York Jets. Edward Stewart, how are you doing? I have to say, that picture is real nice. The profile picture you're rocking right there. Sometimes I feel like I'm staring at, similar pictures, but it's so nice to see something like that. The throwback uniforms, I love those. So, all right, let's go ahead and look. Yeah, no worries. So I saw your comment, Sean, and he said, I think that the 30 to 35 snap rule won't last. They're going to try it, but if the game is going good and the game is on the line, they're going to do it. And that's exactly how I feel about this. I know that and this is not a knock on any Jets content creator at all, because everybody's up, everybody is able to have their own opinion on this. But I actually am not bothered by the 30 to 35 snap rule comments from Jeff Ulbrich. I think that, number one, I think maybe may have just misspoken. And what I mean by that is maybe he's just giving us a general ballpark of a number rather than this very, very, clear cut. They have to be done at 35 snaps. We can't exceed that number. I think that's, certainly not the case. I think that if the Jets are in the football game, like you're talking about, Sean McAteer, if it's let's just throw out a random number. If it's a 17-14 football game, the Jets are behind or ahead, it doesn't really matter, and they're trying to keep the lead or get in the lead, and they need a big play from their defense, and let's say Carl Lawson or Quinnen Williams, they're at, that 35, even maybe a 38 snap, in that game. Why the hell would the Jets take those players off the field in those crucial situations, whether it's third downs, whether it's the red zone, whatever it may be? The Jets are not, in my opinion, the Jets are not going to pull their best players off the field, especially if they are in a rhythm and they are making big plays in the football game. If we see Quinnen Williams not really having a huge impact on a football game, for example, they may, cut him off right at 35. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like you ride the hot hand. It's just like that with a running back committee. So why not have a similar type of, format for your defensive linemen? I think it provides competition at a position that they are clearly trying to get better at. And it's going to be the reason why this defense turns it around, if they turn it around, is strong defensive line play. But there's definitely the argument that the Jets are complicating things because other teams play their best defensive linemen, 70-ish% of the snaps. So I totally get it. And if you're one of those people that disagrees with the 30 to 35 snap rule, I totally hear you and I understand. Let me go ahead and get to some comments. I will check my DMs on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook in just a few moments, but I do want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Tin Star is here. He says, good evening, Jets fans. Budster, he says, let's keep the D off the field and they will be fresh. So I think what you mean by that is if we control the football on offense, we don't really need to worry about, a snap count for our defensive players. And that's another contributing factor. If our offense is possessing the football at least half of the game and potentially more, because that's really what you're trying to do, you're trying to have the football more than the opposition. If that's the circumstance as well, why can't the defensive lineman play more snaps than 35? I think that that's a poor answer by Ulbrich, but I don't think that that is they will not play anybody beyond 35 snaps. Maybe I'm being too kind. I don't know, but I personally don't read it that way. Hennessy Heisman, he says, I think they are just saying that because they know we have the depth on the defensive line and on the edge. Listen, dude, we do not necessarily have a Nick Bosa on this defensive line or Khalil Mack. I mean, there's a million names you could throw out there. Joey Bosa as well. We don't have anybody like that yet as of now. A proven player that's done it, multiple years in the NFL. But we have a number of dudes that can get after the quarterback. And I think that's the thing is they want to have a breeding ground for these guys to feel like, okay, I'm not necessarily a starter on this defense, but if I go out there and I contribute, why can't I get more reps? Why can't I get, into that 30 to 35 snap range? If I'm a guy, let's just say, for example, Jacob Martin, who they brought in from the Houston Texans with some supreme, talent on the pass rush in the pass rushing department. Let's say he gets really hot in the first half of a football game, and normally they wouldn't really play him they wouldn't play him as a starter, 30 to 35 snaps. If he gets hot, why the shit should they not just play him more? Let these guys play who've earned the playing time. And that's the balance that I think they're trying to strike here on defense. So good comment by you, Hennessy. Thank you for throwing that in there. I love the hat as well. I also have my Jets hat. Boom. I'm starting to rock my Jets hats on the channel too. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Now I feel like I have to wear one every time I'm streaming, which I don't know if I love that, but I do like rocking the gear. Lindles, he says, Ulbrich hasn't shown much. I'll give him another year with so much improvement on the defense. But if he doesn't show promise, bye-bye. Fair. Completely fair. And if the Jets do not improve defensively, I will be on the bandwagon with you with the pom-poms and the fire him signs. He will not be able to have the bottom 5 defense in the NFL again and get away with it. There's no way he's going to be able to commit murder more than one time and get away with it. So the Jets have to improve significantly defensively. And, the philosophy is what it is. If it works, great. I think everybody's going to be fine eating hay. If you're a person that's against it, I don't think anybody really cares. They just want to see improvement. And that's a good point by you to throw that out there. So glad I caught you live while I watch the NBA playoffs. Definitely, man. I appreciate that. You can watch the game and you can listen to me. And I appreciate that. That means a lot. I'm looking forward to watching that game as well. I'm going to put it on. I watched the first game really closely and hoping that Golden State can, show a little bit more and get going here a little bit. I think that I think it's easy to say that Steph Curry needs a little bit more help from his friends to get back, to even the series up. Drupacabra, it's good to see you. He says the defensive line couldn't stop the stretch run last year, need fresher legs. They couldn't stop much of anything, right? It wasn't just the stretch run, although I do hear you. They need to man up and they need to play better defensively overall. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but the idea here is that the Jets brought Saleh in, and that is like one of his foundational philosophies is rotating the defensive line and having a number of guys rotating in all game long. It doesn't really matter what quarter it is. So the fact that people are a little bit surprised, I think, is surprising. Drupacabra, here's a great point. And there are other teams that do this. It's not just the Buffalo Bills. Drupacabra says that the Buffalo Bills defensive linemen only play about 35% of the snaps. That is a very low number. And again, that gives you the idea that they are trying to rotate and get as many of them involved. Harry W. with the ground pounds comment here. I don't know if we'll be ground and pound like the Rex Ryan days, but I hear you loud and clear, and I'm with you 100%. I think one of the facets of our team that I'm most confident in right now as we sit here is our starting offensive line, the tight ends, and this running attack really making a huge difference for the entire football team. Obviously, it's going to help Zach Wilson, but it's also going to help the defense. They're going to be off the football field, catching their breath, and getting it right. Stephen Engel makes an interesting comment here. He says, the Bills are stacked at every position. We are not. The defensive line's pretty good. I mean, we're not stacked necessarily. We're not elite on the defensive line as of yet. But I don't know, man. The depth's pretty solid on our defensive line. And I'm trying to think, who is like the 1A pass rusher for the Buffalo Bills. They have a couple of guys, but they don't necessarily have an elite pass rusher either. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like a committee approach. And I think it's fine. But I do hear what you're saying. The Bills are in a different conversation, and they've also been there and they've done that. And I think that's another thing that people are saying. And, I think I've seen Buffalo Jets fan. What's going on, man? It's good to see you. This is Kevin here. And I think you've even said it. Like, I want to see them do it on the field and execute and improve as a defense before I'm willing to commit to saying, like, yes, absolutely. 30 to 35 snaps sounds great. And I think that's fair. I don't have a problem with that. Tin Star, he says, if we are having 70 plus snaps per game, we've got more to worry about than who gets how many snaps. And it's not like Quinnen Williams isn't going to get on the football field. Carl Lawson, Jonathan Franklin Myers, the top players that we feel like are the best players on the defensive line are still going to get the most snaps. They're going to divvy it up, though. And that's really what, we've spent a lot of time talking about this, and I think rightfully so, because it is an important topic. But, excuse me, to me, I think it's the right approach. And that's a good point, too. I said something similar as well. It's an average, 30 to 35 snaps on average. Now, if he had said that, that would have made things a lot better. If Ulbrich had just come out and said, it's an average of 30 to 35 snaps per guy, because they're not going to actually divvy it up that evenly amongst all defensive linemen. So good point by you. Taysom Hill is still running down the sidelines. You could do that for every game. Jonathan Taylor killed us. The Patriots ran it down our throats. Everybody was running the ball down our throats last year. Yep, we do. We have to keep building this defense. And the other thing that I want to talk about before I check the DMs here in a few seconds, is the Jets are rumored to already have contract offers on the table for Larry Ogunjobi, the defensive tackle who was with the Cincinnati Bengals last year during their Super Bowl run. He signed with the Bears, but then he didn't pass a physical, so they cut him. Or avoided the contract, something like that. And now he's sitting there on the free agent market, and they apparently have a contract offer ready for him. Same thing for Quan Alexander, the linebacker who played with the New Orleans Saints. His contract was so low. I think it was like just over $1 million last season. And he produced. He was a decent player for the New Orleans Saints. 50 plus tackles, I think like 3 sacks. He got in there and he made football plays. And again, I think that we really could use some help on the defense. And I think those two players are not necessarily going to make us significantly stronger against the run, because I think Larry Ogunjobi really is more of a pass rusher than he is a run stuffer. But that doesn't hurt us either. Having more depth on that defensive line to get after the quarterback. So let's go ahead and let's keep it moving here. I see you're saying it's not a rumor, Budster, more or less a fact. And if that's the case, that's great. I hope that's the case. Let me go to more comments here. We finally have depth at defensive end, cornerback, wide receiver, tight end. These are good problems to have. Last year we had no one. We had some people at some of those positions, but I do hear what you're saying. And specifically with the tight end room, we did not have anybody in that tight end room. All right, let me go ahead and give a little quick look-see here to the DMs on the social medias. Let's take a little quick see here. I don't think I got anything here on the Twitter. Let's check the Instagram DMs. And as of right now, I am clean as a whistle, so I can still give my comments some love. Let's go to Sean McAteer. He says, we got a lot of spots we need more help in, but we have come a long way. We need to be happy with that. No doubt. And I think that even the people that are upset with the 30 to 35 snap rule, I think everybody can agree we're really happy with how far we've come in terms of building up the depth on this team overall, not just in a couple of positions. Like overall, we are more deep than we've been in a very, very long time. Jorge, what's going on, dude? I have to say, I love following your Instagram. You have some really cool pictures on there. You do I've seen a couple of things where you're out and about in Chicago. Some pretty cool pictures. He says, I think you need to let your stars play more and let them make the plays. In the end, talent overwhelms, and then you supplement with the other less talented but still effective guys. I have no problem with that disagreement at all. And I'm not even saying like if that ends up being the case, like if they refuse to play Carl Lawson in key situations in the fourth quarter, let me rephrase that. Whoever the most effective pass rusher is in the football game, if they're not in on those key situations in the late game, moments, that will get me upset. But having said that, I don't anticipate that being what happens. I think the Jets just have a philosophy and they're just trying to establish it still. That you would think that, it's been a year already. They should already have that kind of, all of these philosophy things established. I still think that they are trying to establish, who they want to be as a team and as a franchise. And this is one of the biggest ones that I think that they really believe in is the rotation of the defensive line. So Stray 100 Jets. What's going on, man? It's good to see you in the comments. He says, not only is the 30 to 35 snap strategy a massive mistake by Saleh and Ulbrich, but they also never had their best players on the field for key situations, 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, and they always gave up big plays. I would actually argue that, I'm not arguing. Let me rephrase that. I think that the more the down that I'm looking for, my guys, specifically on that defensive line, would be the 3rd and 4th or greater. The ones where those guys are going to be pass rushing. You're right about the 3rd one, 4th and 1. I'm sure that there were personnel issues. There were personnel issues all year last year. I'm really glad that you put Saleh's name on there as well. I think that early on, that kind of bothered me, was that everybody was killing Ulbrich on social media regarding this 30 to 35 snap thing, but nobody was talking about Saleh. And I think that's completely BS. If you want to be hard on Ulbrich, that's totally fine, but definitely do the same thing for Saleh, because that's who Ulbrich is, deferring to. This is Saleh's philosophy. Ulbrich is the defensive coordinator, but he is still, under the command of the head coach, and the head coach is responsible for overseeing everything. So if the head coach didn't agree with it, we would have to believe that we wouldn't be seeing that on the, as part of the philosophy and the strategy on defense. So overall, I'm glad that you put Saleh in there, because I think that if you want to be mad about this, that's totally fine, but just be mad. Again, be mad at the people who are responsible. It's not just Ulbrich. Lindels, he says, Zach will be the key. I think he's grown up a lot with confidence and leadership. But let's see what his on the field play looks like. Um, I think that confidence is going to come in those first 2 to 3 games of the season. I think that he needs to go out there and execute on the football field before you really start to see some more swagger. Because that's the thing. Like, Zach Wilson's not a huge talker, but he plays with a level of swagger and, just like aggressiveness. He's an aggressive football player. He doesn't shy away from making the big throw. And if we're able to, have some success on offense early in the season, then you're going to really start to see some of that confidence exude out of Zach Wilson. And I do agree that you're right. Like you're already seeing those things transpiring throughout this offseason, specifically with working out with other teammates. And he spoke about it on his podcast with Mark Sanchez and Nick Mangold, and he talked about, the it wasn't just working out with the players, it was also like spending time with them and getting to know their story, and like, trying to truly like build relationships with the teammates around him. That's super important, and I'm glad that he has kind of taken ownership of kind of organizing that stuff. NY Jets super fan, he says, we have better players than Buffalo. They just have a monster at quarterback. Whew. They have players that have played at a very, very high level, and they also have players that have experienced the playoffs. Obviously, that's an obvious statement to make. I guess what you're trying to say is if we had Josh Allen, we would beat them, and that may be true. That's actually a very, very interesting point. I was gonna kind of do this a different way. I was gonna say, I don't necessarily agree, but I do think about it. Like, if we had Josh Allen on our roster right now, would we have a hard time beating the Buffalo Bills? It's an interesting question, or a interesting take by you. Budster, are they going to limit Zach to 35 snaps? Keep him fresh? I guess the big difference is Zach Wilson does not have to run through 300 plus pound men every down. I know you're just being sarcastic though. That's the big thing. Like, they have to be fresh on that football field. Stephen Engel, he says Jacob Martin, Jermaine Johnson, and Jordan Whitehead are going to be our best run stoppers on defense. We actually have a topic for Wednesday regarding our run defense. I agree with 2/3 of that. I think Jacob Martin might actually not be as strong against the run than you think, analytically at least speaking. I did some research on him, and he is an effective pass rusher, but he does struggle against the run in certain situations. Having said that, like I said, I agree with 2/3 of it. Jermaine Johnson was very strong at Florida State, stopping the run, and played with great technique, but also used his head very well as in addition to that. And then Jordan Whitehead, obviously, he's going to be a huge part of that week 1 matchup in limiting not only Lamar Jackson, but also containing that running game, because they are a very, very good football team, and good running football team at that. Allen throws up before every game. Is that true? I don't believe that. Does Josh Allen throw up before every game? That's intense, man. I know there was Mark Schlereth, the offensive tackle for the at the time, the Redskins and the Broncos. I think he did something like that. He would throw up. That's a pretty intense pregame ritual, though, wouldn't you say? Sean McAteer, he says, we could end up with a great team in 2 years and no good coaches. And maybe even a crappy GM at that point. We always trash our team or coaches prematurely. I guess what you're trying to say here is we should be appreciating, how far we've come from, Adam Gase and the GM issues of, the past decade, Idzik, McCagnon. Yeah, it's been It's been rough. And I think that we don't know what's going to happen regardless. Like wins and losses, we don't know what's going to happen this upcoming season. But I think we all like, again, not everybody, but I would say like most Jet fans agree the way they have constructed this team and the way they continue to construct this team is the right way. They are stockpiling players at some very, very important positions, and they're talented. They're very, very talented. The secondary, we're getting way more talented. The defensive line's way deeper. Our offensive line, it's still not. The starting unit to me is very good, but the depth is still a work in progress. The tight end room was completely overhauled. The wide receiver room is way infinitely better. This is one of the best wide receiver rooms talent-wise that we've had. I would honestly say maybe even since Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker, which is 6-7 years ago. So certainly they are doing things. They're doing some good things in this process of building this team up, ready to compete. You guys are blowing up these comments. I'm doing my best to keep up with you. Guys, again, I'm going to just point to it one more time. If you want to be on the show with me, DM me on Twitter or Instagram. And you can also send me a message on Facebook. I am on Facebook. It's at NYJetsToday _. And I can get you to join me on the show right now. And you can talk a little bit of Jets football. You can ask me a question and then just dip out. It's whatever you want to do. I just want to involve you guys as much as I can and to give you the floor because you don't have this opportunity otherwise. All right, nothing on the Instagram or the Twitter. I'm refreshing it just to make sure here. You guys are being shy, and that's okay. I can keep talking and reading your comments. I'm happy to do that for the full hour as well if we have to. Let's see here. The days of Jody overpaying are done. The days of overpaying in general are done. I don't think Joe Douglas, he's never going to go beyond what he's I shouldn't say that. He's never going to go much beyond what he's comfortable paying a guy. He was going to shell out serious money for Tyreek Hill. We all can agree there. It wasn't just the trade compensation that they were willing to give in that trade. It was also the contract that they were going to give Tyreek Hill, and it was going to be mega bucks. So Joe Douglas is willing to pony up money, but it's always going to have to be what he is comfortable spending on that specific player. Joe Douglas is not cheap. If somebody tells you that narrative, you tell them they are dead wrong because it's not true. He's not cheap. He's picky. He is picky. Hennessy Heisman, again, what's going on? He says, last year, most of the team was rookies, and we were hit with the injury bug big time. This year, if everyone stays healthy, things have to turn around. In general, things do need to turn around, and agreed, if we are mostly healthy this season, and again, we're going to suffer injuries. That crap is going to happen. So everybody needs to prepare themselves. Somebody that we really like is going to go down. That's just the nature of football and sports in general is really good players get hurt. Happens every year. And so the question is, to what effect are players going down? Because you're right. Last year, we were like one of the top 5 probably in injuries. I don't know the specific numbers, like, the number of IR guys we had versus other teams, but I know that we had to have been in the top 5. And any team that suffers that many injuries is already up against it. But a team that's so young with a brand new coaching staff, again, that was the first year for these guys, was having to reshuffle positions, playing guys in brand new positions. Like, again, I think about players like Jason Pinnock and, him switching from cornerback to safety. I don't know if they would have ever done that if they had had so many injuries at the safety position. Same thing can be said for the linebackers. We suffered a bunch of injuries early on. We had to play these converted safeties at linebacker. They were already going to play linebacker, so that's not really what I'm after. But what I am going to say is those guys were probably not ready for the spotlight to be ready to play week 1, week 2, week 3. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a huge, huge part of team success is being able to stay healthy and keeping your best players on the football field. Utah Utes Football Digest. He says, am I the only one that notices Quan Alexander's 34 PFF grade from last year? I know you have to take it with a grain of salt, but damn, that is an awful grade. What are your thoughts? So I'll throw a couple of things out there. Number one, the analytics thing. I'm actually pretty big into analytics. You can't just look at analytics. It's more or less a piece of the pie. You still have to watch the player on the field. Still have to look at, are they able to stay healthy? Are they not able to stay healthy? I'll say this. Beggars cannot be choosers, especially at this point of the offseason. There's just not a lot of players out there. And when you're trying to improve your football team, sometimes you just have to take a swing at it. This is not going to be an expensive contract if the Jets do land him. It's going to be cheap. It's going to be like in the neighborhood of like $2 to $4 million for the season. And could it flop? Definitely. Quan Alexander could get hurt like he's been the last few years. He might play ineffectively in a prominent role. So, yeah, I mean, definitely. We're taking a swing. I think that's what you have to look. That's the way you have to look at it. This is not a superstar linebacker that's just sitting there waiting to be signed. So I actually really like this comment. I appreciate you throwing it in there. Good stuff. Really appreciate it. Chupacabra. Joe learned about injury-plagued players. We have signed too many. The one that I would point to is, and this is no offense to Carl Lawson, but he has been injured in the past, not just in 2021. He had some injuries with the Cincinnati Bengals. And, I don't know if he's signed too many players that have been injured. It's one of those things, man. You just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to be healthy or who's not going to be healthy. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, though. It's tough, though. Steven Engel, there's going to be some tough defensive line cuts this year. Absolutely. They're going to keep a lot of defensive linemen, though. It could be upwards of like 8 to 10 guys, defensive tackles and defensive ends. James Wighouse in the house, literally. James, I hope you're having a good time watching your Rangers. I don't know if the series is 2-1 or 3-0. I think it's 2-1, though. I don't know if it's necessarily the number that bothers me. Situationally, every game is different. Making adjustments rather than having some hard line number is necessary. And I agree. I hope that it's not. I hope that in their meeting rooms, they don't have like the number 35 like tattooed on the wall with like an X through it or something. Like they should not be that firm on it. I still believe that Ulbrich was just trying to answer the question, and he gave a range, 30 to 35, kind of just like if he was talking about, just like trying to guesstimate. And I think that's what he's trying to say. James, I agree with you, man. Steel Stone. And by the way, guys, if you didn't know, James is on every Wednesday with me during our live stream show. And he is a contributor at Jets X Factor. He's excellent at what he does. And so you'll be seeing him and I on Wednesday night. Steel Stone, he says, since players come and go within 3 years in today's football, teams have to win now. And what he's talking about is the average, career span of an NFL player is about 3.5 years, I think. I don't know if that means you have to win now. But specifically, like if you are a player in the NFL, yeah, I'm sure you would want to win right away because there's no guarantees, man. It's a wild sport. You can be in there one down and you can be out for the rest of your career. And we've seen that in the NFL's history. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. You can play your last down and you will never get back on that football field. It's just the scary reality for these players that they have to go through. The Buffalo Jet fan. Let's see here. He says, I think we can get at least all to agree there should not be a single meaningful snap where more than 2 of these guys are on the bench. Lawson, Quinnen Williams, Jonathan Franklin Myers, and JJ. I like that because you don't want to have an entire defensive line out there, like he said, a meaningful snap, not necessarily a 1st and 10 situation we're talking about here, but like a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and 1. If we're playing all of the backups on the defensive line on that very specific scenario that he's talking about, which is a meaningful down, I absolutely agree with that. I think they should be smart with their rotations. And I think that's part of being a great head coach, is being able to manage all of that stuff. They have to be able to manage it. It's super important. I'm not sure how else to explain it other than they got to be very, very careful with how they choose to rotate these guys. So really good comment by you. And I definitely don't disagree. We do have a super chat, and I'm going to have to, jump down pretty far on the chat here. Let's see here. I'm trying to read through a couple of these quick comments. Oh, let me favorite a couple of these. I'm going to go down to the bottom so I can read this comment. It's from V-Man. And he says, I DM'd you. I owe your daughter the Beatles birthday song. What a great song that is, by the way. Let me check my DMs here. He's saying he DM'd me, so let me get after that. Instagram. Hey, Jorge Gonzalez is ready. I think V-Man is ready as well. Oh, man, we got 3 people ready to go. Okay, so the rest of this show is probably going to be dedicated to these fellers. Let's get Vinny. I think it's Vinny. V-Man, I sent you the link. You can join and come on to the show. Interesting. Not high on JJ. So prior to the NFL draft, there were some very interesting analytics that came out about JJ, specifically when he got sacks or when he got pressures. It was very rarely within the first 2 seconds of the snap. And when you look at some of the other guys in comparison, they were getting after the quarterback all throughout, all different times. It was, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. And JJ's analytics in this one were not particularly good. Maybe you're referring to that. I don't know for sure, but I don't know, man. I think that he is a balanced defensive lineman with a lot of different moves. I think he's not coming into the National Football League needing to learn a ton. And I think the Jets just love his ceiling. He's not a perfect prospect by any means. That's why he went, he fell to the near the end of the first round. So other teams must have seen something as well. But there's also a lot of people out there that are like, how did he fall to the 26th overall pick? So yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to watching Jermaine Johnson this season. I think he's one of those guys that we can count on, though, specifically to help us stop the run. Let's see. All right, we've got V-Man. He's ready to roll here, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this for the moment and get him on the screen, I think. Hey, Vinny. I'm going to get you on here. I think it's Vinny. You need a practice? I'm going to get you on here. What's going on, dude?
Nothing. So like I said, I did owe your daughter the birthday song. So let me do this. Let me remember it.
This is awesome. Let's go, Vinny. Is it Vinny?
Yeah, he's only Vinny.
I wanted to be sure. I didn't think V stood for something else. Thank you, man. I'm going to play that for my daughter. I'm going to screenshot that part of it, and I'm going I'm gonna let her. I don't even know if she's ever heard the Beatles song "Happy Birthday," so I'm gonna have to play it for her. How you doing, man?
No, good. I'm just impatient. I can't wait for the gobs of talent that I just want to see in this in effect.
Yeah. So, what specifically, like, which players are you thinking of when you talk about the talent?
Well, like, well, let's be honest. Like, we're what 3 players deep at every skill position. Like the wide receivers, the tight ends, the running backs. All, like, I can't wait for it. And then like, 'cause it's so fun. Like the fact that you're going into the season, like you're not. It's like not. And also, I want to talk about honestly the David Carr comment.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Because and I think people say, oh well, he's crazy, the schedule is brutal and this and that. Oh, we're not ready, and enough with the pessimism. I mean, like we've dealt with so much crap for so long. Pardon my French, but that it's about we have the talent. We have it's like it's not an excuse about the talent. He's absolutely right. It's not a talent issue for the Jets. The only question you have about the Jets is will they click? I mean, that's really the only area of concern you have because I mean, and the whole first half of the schedule is brutal thing. I mean, it's tough, but it's doable. I mean, I don't think the Ravens are a good team, but are they world beaters?
They weren't
No.
last year. They had a ton of injuries themselves too. It's a fair point to make.
I mean, yeah, they're
Uh,
not. It's like I wouldn't like. I'm not putting them in the top tier. Like I wouldn't put them in the top three of the AFC. Like no, I'd probably put that Buffalo, Kansas City, Buffalo, Kansas City. I don't know who would you put as your third team.
uh, I mean, I don't off the top of my head. I'm not really sure, man. I would say. I mean, you got to have the Bengals still in the conversation, right? Because they just went to the Super.
Probably
And
put the Bengals three.
I think the Chargers also are a sneaky team in the AFC. I think they're going to be very very good as
Yeah,
well.
like that. Then with all this recent Watson news, it looks like there's probably going to be some kind of suspension there.
Yep, exactly.
And then we somehow managed to beat the Bengals. It could be just ending up being like we could just be to the Bengals what the Titans are to the Bills. That one team that just always seems to get them. For all we know,
Exactly.
but the Steelers don't have any. I mean, the Steelers are what you afraid of Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett?
I
I
hope
mean,
not. I hope
I
that
mean,
we don't have a reason to be scared of those guys.
and then of course, then you got Miami. It's just Tua. I mean, we took them to the wire multiple times. Both games were competitive. And like And then you got the Packers. They're coming straight back from London. And the Jets historically have always played the Packers tough. I mean, to find a double-digit loss by the Jets against the Packers, you have to go all the way back to 1973.
Oh wow, that's incredible. I didn't know that. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, it's funny actually. Now that you're saying that, the last couple of games that we have seen between the Packers and the Jets, yeah, that's
They're
been the
tight.
case. It's been the
They're
case.
tight.
It's been a close game every time.
Exactly. So I mean, like this whole concern thing is, and like the Jets, all they need to do is survive. Like I think you can probably find 4 or 5 games the Jets can win there in the first half, and then yeah. No, I don't do that anymore. So, like I said, you can find 4 or 5 games that win the first half, and then the second half is soft. I mean, you got Lions, the Bears, the Jags, Seattle. I mean, those, and then what? The Vikings are there too. The Vikings aren't that good. I mean, there's a lot of winnable games in the second half. So, as long as you survive that first half 4 or 5 win area, you go in the second half. It's doable. I
Yep.
mean, it's not going to be easy, but it's doable. So I mean, why should we be afraid?
Yep. I'm completely with you. And let's take a look at a comment here before I kick you off. And I do appreciate you coming on, man, and hanging out with me. James Wighouse, he said, good point, V man. He says Packers declined their bye after London, I believe.
All right.
So
Okay. You want anything else? You want any other requests before I leave? I can play a bit of Sabbath. I can play Cream. I can play some Ramones.
give me the intro to Simple Man, and then you can stay.
All right. No, I haven't learned that one, but I can play some. I have a wah wah pedal hooked up. So you want me to play something with that?
You give me a little taste of it,
All right.
and then I'm kicking you because I got to get to other people.
All right.
It's pretty sweet. All right, that's V man. You're out of here, buddy. Have a good one, brother.
Peace.
Peace, dude. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Vinny, for coming on to the show. He's playing music while talking Jets. That's actually kind of cool. I like that vibe. I'm not going to lie. We're going to go ahead and get Jorge Gonzalez, and then we're going to wrap up the show with Straight 100 Jets. So, Jorge, the link is coming your way right now. And V-Man is a cool dude. I mean, it takes some stones, right? He's getting on here and playing a little bit of music. All I do is talk. I don't do anything other than talk. Yeah, the young Hendrix. Oh, man. How cool would that be? My son surprised me with tickets for the 50-year tour in Philly. Oh, man, that's so cool. Packers won't be the same team this year. A lot of people are saying that, and it's not just people, not just commenters. James Wighouse is very much in the belief that we could win that football game. That's a winnable game for the New York Jets. They are coming off of the London game, and they don't have Devontae Adams, and they needed another guy, opposite of Devontae Adams, for the last couple of years. They really, really needed another guy to throw the football to. And it impacted them in some games. And now they lost him. They don't have Devontae Adams. So I think it's definitely, an intriguing game for us to potentially win that, on paper, it looks like we have no chance. And I agree, man. He's going to miss Adams. Even if they end up having a good season, I think he still is going to be affected by not having Devontae. He is an absolute stud, one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. All right, we're going to add Jorge Gonzalez right now to the show. Jorge, what is going on, brother? Oh, you're frozen. And you look scared. Don't be scared. I kicked you. But you can come back. Just click the same link. You looked frozen. I'll add you again if you call back, though. The Jets have a good history against Green Bay. I think about the game where, like I had mentioned last week, where I went to the Green Bay game. It was when we had Chad Pennington, and we went to Green Bay and we kicked the crap out of them. We beat them handedly. It was pretty exciting. Jorge, you are still frozen. It's probably because you're on your phone, dude, and you're. Oh, I can hear you. Jorge, I'm sorry, brother, but it doesn't look like it's going to work out tonight. Your link, or excuse me, your phone is betraying you in a crucial moment. Let me try to get Straight 100 Jets on here, and I'll bounce back to you at the end. So Straight 100 Jets, the link is sent to you right now. He looked like someone had told him his cat had ran away. Yeah, he did look. He looked a little upset, didn't he? We'll have a few games under our belts by the time we play the Pack. That's also another factor. Is how are the Jets rolling at that point in the season? Are they already establishing themselves with some consistency and playing well offensively? Is Zach looking good in those matchups? So I think that's a good point. Like, where are we and where are they at that point in the season? I think will be really interesting. All right, so we were not able to connect with Jorge, but I'm looking at my screen right now, and John is ready to roll. So, John, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. How's it going?
I'm good, dude. I'm ready for summer, and I don't know. I
Yeah,
hope I've been living outside the last like 2 weeks. I haven't been inside a whole lot. How about
it's
you?
been the opposite for me. I've been inside the whole time working and not getting enough sunshine.
Oh man, then
So shout
I'm
out
a
to V Man. I don't know how in the hell I'm gonna follow that, but much love to V Man. But um, I mean, like I said before, I saw too many situations. I mean, yeah, we have more depth now, but I saw too many situations when it was like think it was the Saints game where it's like 3rd and 1 and Quinnen was on the bench. And so it's like all our best players are on the bench. I mean, as much as I don't like the 30 to 35 snap rule, at least have your best players for key situations like a third and short or a fourth down. You got to have your best players out there. And I saw too many situations. And that's great that you brought up Salah, because it's Salah's scheme. It's
yep.
Ulbrich is just the figurehead. It is Salah's scheme. I mean, yeah. I mean, Ulbricht's play calling was terrible last year. On top of how inadequate the defense was to begin with. But it just, I mean, I'm all for keeping players fresh, but you got to have your key players out there for key situations. And too many times I didn't see that.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I want to interject because I think
go ahead.
you're saying some really good stuff, and like specifically, I think that that is one of the things I'm going to be looking for is what are their personnel packages looking like early in the season? Because you said it best, like having guys out of the game in those key moments, there's really no excuse. They have to have a better formula for getting these guys out there. Like if you want to rotate, I think, and again, I think that most Jets fans understand that that's like a good recipe, but it's not a good recipe to, like you said, having your best players off the field in key moments of the football game. So I do think that there is some credence to that. And again, having guys playing out of position too, like, having Jonathan Franklin Myers covering the tight end for the Falcons last year in the red zone. Like, it's just like, that's kind of bullshit. Like, you can't continue to do that and have those mistakes and expect it to get any better. So there's definitely pressure on Ulbrich. Don't even get it twisted. Like I
Oh,
definitely
I'm
defend.
not.
I know you're not. I know.
I
I
wanted
think.
I
Go
wanted his
ahead.
fucking head last year.
I remember. I remember
You know.
you and I went back and forth a lot. I remember on social media, which is all good. I He deserves criticism. He deserves to have pressure on him specifically this year because if he doesn't step up and if he doesn't get this defense player, he will be fired.
And has he ever heard of a blitz? I mean, really. I mean, it was just blitz was out of the vocabulary last year. I mean, I saw him blitz like in the last game of the year against Buffalo, and maybe that's it. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, this whole read and react bullshit's got to stop. You got to attack on defense. But one last thing, and I'll let you go. I
All
mean,
good.
it's an unmitigated disgrace why Mo Lewis is not in the Jets Ring of Honor. The fact that he's basically known for one play that he had no control over.
Talk about that
That's the
play
thing.
because there's some young fans that watch.
I know, and that's the thing. It's like he did the right. I understand like a Bill Buckner. I mean, sports can be incredibly cruel and incredibly crazy, and I can understand a situation like Bill Buckner, even though that had its problems too, because Boston gave away that lead to the Mets, if you remember, in
Oh, I know. Yep.
1986.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is that he had no control over what happened with Brady. Brady, if anyone says they saw what was coming with Brady, they're full of shit,
Of course.
absolutely full of it. And the fact that he's being punished for something that that's the only thing. That's the only conclusion that I can come up to is that maybe the Jets brass may hold it against him for that one play, which he did the right thing. You know, I mean, Bledsoe, was a very good quarterback in his day, and that looked like, a great play that was going to, seriously mess with the Patriots, and then look what happened. But that's something he had no control over,
Yep.
and to punish him for something like that is completely insane. I mean, what are your thoughts?
No, I got while you were talking, I pulled up, all of the stats from Mo Lewis, and I already knew most of them. I knew he had over 50 sacks, career sacks with the Jets. So this is a linebacker that the Jets drafted out of Georgia. I believe it was the third or fourth round here. Let me see. Third round, yeah, third round out of Georgia, and he is a beast, man, absolute monster. And I think Green Bean had mentioned the versatility that he played with as well, because he was a 3-4 outside linebacker with the Jets in the late 90s, and then, or excuse me, mid to late 90s, and then they transitioned to a 4-3 defense, and he played, really good football as an outside linebacker in that spot as well. But 200 career games, started in 199 of them. Uh, Tons of production, passes defensed, forced fumbles, 52 and a half career sacks, a tackling machine. He's one of the best Jets linebackers in franchise history. And I think there's a chance that he might even be the best linebacker in Jets history. So I have no problem with the take. And I think that there's definitely some more guys that could be considered. And it's going to be one of the topics for Wednesday night is who are some of the players that we feel like should be considered that haven't been named part of that Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I mean, just as big of a disgrace as not having Marty Lyons in the Hall of Fame is just as big a disgrace as not having Mo. I mean, I think I agree with Kevin, Mr. Buffalo Jets fan, that he's a top 10 Jet, probably on the outer edge of it. But I don't think that's a hot take at all. And
No,
and I mean, it's really nuts that he's basically known outside of New York Jets circles. He's basically known for that one play, and it's just sports is can be really cruel and really sick at times, and this is one of those times. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard a situation like that where he actually did a good thing and is being punished for it. You know,
it's very possible that that's the case, which is pretty outlandish. I mean, it's crazy like that would be the case, but and again, he knocked the snot out of Brady, and you're right, that was his job on that play. He did the right thing.
Bledsoe,
So,
but
oh, what did I say, Brady?
you said Brady. It was
Yeah,
Bledsoe. I knew
no,
it
yeah,
was
no, I
Bledsoe.
remember. He tore his he tore like a chest artery, right? Like he
Yeah, he did.
yeah. So he knocked
I
the
mean,
snot out of him out of blood. So I meant to say blood. So that was just a mistake
I know
there.
you did. I know
Yeah.
you know what you're talking about.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for giving me the
I'll
call.
let you
And it's
go.
great
All
to
right.
see you, man. Get outside.
Yeah, I will, on my lunch breaks and stuff. But
It's good.
all right, take it
It's good
easy.
for the soul, man. Take care. Have a
Yeah,
good night.
you
All right. That was John from Jets 100, or excuse me, Talking Jets. Shit, I can't even say his channel name. Straight 100 Jets. Jeez. Sorry about that. All right, let's keep going here. We got a good couple of comments I wanted to read. Edward Stewart, and I believe he said, funny thing, when I was back at home at Michigan, Brady didn't even get the starting job until his senior year. Drew Henson was there as well as Greasy. Amazing how he came along. Yeah, nobody suspected it. That's why he fell to the 6th round. And yeah, I mean, the Patriots made the draft pick, so they get the credit, and Belichick was the coach there, so I guess he gets some credit. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's been it's been a nightmare for us Jets fans. Bino, what's going on, man? It's been a while. It's good to see you. Good to see all these different faces over the off season. I know we're not all active throughout the off season just because there's not always a ton going on, but it's great to see you guys, even if you just poke in to say hi. I am going to check my DMs one more time here. I'm going to check Instagram and Twitter. Nothing on the Twitter. Let's see on Instagram. And looks like nobody. And then I'll check Facebook one last time. And then I'll start to put a bow on the show here. Okay. It's good to see you, dude. Thank you again for tuning in. Is John Riggins in the Jets Ring of Honor? No, I don't believe so. We have Klecko. I think it's Gastineau and Brady. Not Gastineau. Gastineau's on it. Brady. Revis will be on it. Mangold, DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, and I'm not sure who else. Matt Snell, is he in the Ring of Honor? I'm not sure. Yeah, you got to get out of the basement. We all got to get out of the basement. I'm downstairs right now doing with all of you, which I'm very happy to do, but it's very important that we all get outside. We were meant as humans to be outside. We are supposed to be in the sunshine every once in a while. The weather has been just beautiful lately. I'm just so yeah, I accidentally said Brady. I meant to say Bledsoe that he smacked. Um, Definitely was watching that game live for sure. Anyway, that's going to be pretty much it for this call in episode. I really appreciate everybody that did try to call in or did call in. I really enjoy this this show. I enjoy the live call in shows. It's great. Love interacting with you guys, even though it's a short amount of time. Do keep your eyes out for the Wednesday show. I'm going to be live with James as always, and we've got some good topics for that show. And I'm not going to make any promises, but I'm sure hopeful to make some videos for you guys this upcoming weekend. I certainly needed the time off. There was a lot of content being created during the pre-draft process and the draft itself and post-draft. And these last 2 weeks or so have been really good for me. I'm going to be able to come back strong and get right back to work once we get closer and closer here to the training camp and preseason. It'll be right back to the way it was. So stick around, guys. And guys, thank you so much for just watching. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're watching this for the first time and you're checking the channel out, I hope you consider subscribing. We've come a long way in a year and a half or so, and it's just all thanks to you guys. Do what Jake Asman does. Put the link in the chat to join the show. Stephen Engel, that's a great freaking idea. Why am I just now figuring this out? You know what? I'm going to do a test. Boom. How about that? Show's not over. I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds. I just put the link in the chat. And Stephen Engel, this is why I keep you around. This is great, very stupid of me to not just put it in the chat now that I've thought about it. I guess the only thing is I could be inundated with calls, but somebody do it. Maybe it has to be you. It has to be all of you. I want the call-in show to become eventually a difficult thing for me to handle. I know, right, Jim Pock? Why would I have never figured that out? Yes, good work by Stephen Engel. I am no sage on the stage. Sage on the stage. I don't know what I'm doing. I need you guys to keep me in bounds every once in a while. And I will tell you, starting next week for the live call-in show, I'm going to pin the link to join. And it will no longer be a DM process. You can just click the top of the screen. And that'll be very, very easy for all of us. I love the LOLs. Everybody's getting a kick out of this. Yeah, I don't have a deep voice either. It doesn't matter. We got Jets Forever ready to join. Let's see, man. What's going on, sir? You ready to join? I can put you on the screen. We got Jets Forever. Oh, make sure you turn off your sound. There you go.
Yeah.
What's going on, sir? You ready? How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Not a whole lot.
I watch your show.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you tuned in. So what's your name?
My name is Val.
I'm
nice. Jets Forever.
Yeah, of course.
The other Jets Forever, in case somebody from Jake Asman's show is on. But the thing about Brady, that's bullshit about Mo Lewis. He would have been who he was even if he didn't knock him out. I mean, when you're
Exactly.
that good, you don't just sit on the bench. Eventually, they would have figured it out. So, you know, that's I don't understand. That's and
It,
uh, and Joe Klecko should be in the Hall of Fame.
dude, absolutely, he should be in the Hall of Fame. It's crazy that he's not. So I know a little bit about him because my dad talked to me a lot about him. I've obviously watched a lot of him. I didn't get to watch him during, live football when he was actually on the field. But this was a guy that made the Pro Bowl at more than one spot on the defensive line. He was a really damn good football player.
He went to
Talk,
the Pro Bowl 3 different positions.
it's unbelievable, right? Like that's incredible.
I
Uh,
watched all those guys. I saw Super Bowl 3. I'm a little old, as you could see, but
no, that's okay. My dad watched it.
and Matt Snow was a great running back. Somebody said Matt Snow won the Super Bowl on your chat, not Joe Namath. But he doesn't know what he's talking about. Matt Snow was good. Joe Namath, we Bank wanted to keep throwing the ball, and Joe Namath told him we don't have to. Let's just run it out and go home.
Exactly. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And I think I remember him famously saying, running to the left side, he was saying, make them stop it. Because if they don't stop it, why the hell would you stop doing it? Why just attack them where?
Exactly. He didn't need to throw for 400 yards. And we're winning the game.
Yep.
Like you said, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yep. No,
But Matt was a great running back, though. He was good.
and
Don
that makes,
Maynard, can't beat those guys.
and that's another guy who is he is in the Jets Ring of Honor. I don't know why I didn't think of
Well,
Don.
Don Maynard is in the Hall of Fame too, I
Yeah.
believe.
Oh, yes. Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
For sure. Well,
But
listen, Jets forever. You are welcome to join me anytime and talk Jets football. How about you give me one thing for the current team, and then I'll let you run for the night.
well, from what I've been seeing the last 10 years, they got to get off the field on 3rd and forever.
No doubt
They,
about it.
they stop them on, they stop them first down, second down, and no matter what the yardage, I don't understand it.
I remember, I know what games you're talking about last year specifically, but you're saying it's been, the last decade. It does feel like that. They just could not get off the field. I remember there was the play, I guess it was the Titans game, maybe. It was like 3rd and 21 or 22,
Yeah,
and they convert on a
yep.
terrible, just terrible. I don't even know. It's not really scheme. It's more or less just knowing what the hell to be doing on the field. Like they're just not
I mean,
aware.
it kept happening over and over a million
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. And that Ulbrich guy, he better get that 35 snaps out of his mind. Or he'll be looking for a job before the end of the year.
Well, and he very well might need to. And again, I still believe that if there's a guy that's running real hot in a game, and it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's a starter or a backup, I think they're flexible, within that rule and I mean, he better, because if that's the thing, like if a guy is dominating the game in the first half and they start to limit the amount of snaps just because he's getting close to 35, that's going to be a problem for me.
Like you said before, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not broke. Just leave it
Exactly.
alone.
Well, Val is Val, right?
Yeah, that's my first name. Yeah, but I'm known as I'm the other Jets forever, not the troll that's always on Jake Asman. So
Well,
he
listen,
knows me as the other Jets forever.
I will not refer to you as that. I'll call you Val, and I really appreciate you stopping by and calling into the show, man. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you, and I
Yep,
appreciate the work you're doing.
I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. You have a great night, and go Jets.
Too.
You too.
Bye.
Take care. That's great. A new caller. We haven't had a new caller in a long time. Exactly, not the troll. I love that. It's fantastic. I remember Drew's replacement. More importantly, that game in particular, I as well. Yes. It's unbelievable how fast time goes, because that feels like yesterday. I still remember sitting on the couch watching that game. It was the first game the Jets played after the 9/11 attack. And yeah, that was a significant moment in NFL history. It was a significant moment for the Jets, for the Patriots, for the whole AFC. I thought Val was fantastic. Yeah, Val did really good. Um, spoke a little bit about Ulbrich and the Ring of Honor, and as well getting off the football field, man. That pass rush has got to burn, or we are in deep. You know what? All right. So the link is going to be put in here one more time. I threw in the link to join the show one last time. If I get one more caller, great. And if not, this has been an absolute blast hanging out with you guys tonight. And I'm looking forward to utilizing this moving forward thanks to Stephen Engel. A very quick comment being like, yo, you're doing this wrong. You're making it very difficult for us to join your show, a-hole. Put it in the chat. And I just did. I put it as the pinned comment as well. So if you guys want to join the show, it's there for the taking. And it's glad I discovered the channel. Keep it going. Thank you, Michael. Really appreciate that. And again, hope you check out some of the content. There's videos that are, a couple of weeks old now that are still relevant. There's videos about the tight end room. There's videos about the running backs, the wide receivers, Garrett Wilson versus Sauce Gardner. Just go dig into my playlists. I have a lot of content for you guys to watch as we sit here and wait for, summer to end so we can get into the training camp, man. I got Ronald ready to join the show. We got a bunch of new faces tonight. This is fantastic. And I got Mr. Stephen Engel to thank for that. Ronald, I'm going to give you a second if you want to. I will put you on the screen, but I'll give you a moment. Looks like you might be sorting out your camera there for a second. Definitely glad to have you, Michael. Really appreciate that. And Edward Stewart, if the offer is still on the table, I would love for you to help to admin my chat. I got your email. I'm gonna look into that and make sure that I get you added as soon as possible. All right, I think Ronald's ready, so I'm gonna put him on the screen here. Ronald, what's up, man?
I'm a big Jets fan. Honestly, I'm like, I seen the thing to click on. So I'm like, all right, let me click on and see what these guys are talking about in here. But listen, if it's Jets talk, I'm always willing and ready.
Let's do it, man. Tell me what you got. What's on your mind?
Hey, honestly, I was like, I heard everybody talking about like these tackles, like these linebackers that were supposed to be Odabi and the other one. You remember his name? Something
Odabi?
Odabi.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you talking about Ogunjobi?
Ogunjobi, that's his name. Yeah. Yeah. Have you heard anything about that? Like with maybe like us getting one of them or both of them. You heard anything about that?
That's the thing that everybody's been talking about is the fact that we are very likely to land one, if not both. I think it would be tremendous if we could get both. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Getting a defensive tackle and the linebacker, I think would really help the defense out quite a bit.
That would be a dream. I'm thinking like, I really think that like, would the Jets go to the playoffs? Something like, is that unreal? I don't see how that's unreal. Why would that be unreal? Our team is good enough. Like, okay, like maybe they're not gonna like gel together this first year, but I don't know. I think if Salah's a good enough coach, he can make them gel. I really do, man. I really believe that can happen. I'm a dreamer when it comes to the Jets. I'm a big dreamer.
Listen, man, that's the thing. Like, I have spent most of my life being exactly the same way. Like, it didn't matter what year it was. Like, I always felt like on the optimistic side, like we can do something with the roster that we have.
I thought I was the only one. As a Jets fan, you gotta think like that, though.
Yeah, and Grant Rude's in the comment. He's saying that that's the last thing that he read is that there's offers that have been made to both players. They're going to sit there for a while. They're not going to get big contracts. Neither one of those guys. I think the Jets, they have a decent shot to get them.
I think so too. Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, what do you think would, other than maybe Salah coaching up this team, what are some of your other keys to them getting into that playoff hunt?
You know what? I really think because we really like our players are good enough to like really stand up. I really think we could stand up to anybody. So like to get into the playoffs, I really just think that we just need to gel. Everybody needs to play up to their potential. Here, that's really what it is. If everybody plays up to the potential, I really don't see why we all our like even even our their running back they just picked up. I think that this dude is an all star, man. I'm telling you. For some reason, I think this dude's gonna do big things. I'm like, imagine this dude's coming this like this big thing, you know? Like, I mean, I have no idea. I mean, he looks like a beast. Hey, what's up, baby girl? What's up? Not much.
Brees the Beast, baby.
Yeah.
All right, well,
I'm telling
listen.
you, that's what it is. You know it.
He could be special, man, especially running behind this offensive line. Tomlinson's there. We got AVT, Becton potentially coming back from that injury. Thank you so much,
Exactly. I'm
dude.
telling you.
Thank you.
Exactly. Imagine when that line gets together and starts clicking. I think our defense alone could like take us places. Even if we didn't have all the weapons offensively, I think our defense alone, when everybody gets back, when everybody gets on the field, I really don't see. I'm telling you, like top 10 in the NFL.
I agree with that. I'll say one thing. If we create more turnovers this season, watch out. I think that's the recipe. If we can get some more, get our hands on the football more, creating turnovers, I think that's going to be the key to us really getting,
You know what?
making some
Absolutely right.
noise. Thank you so much,
Absolutely
Ronald.
right.
I really appreciate you calling in, man. I hope you call in again next Sunday.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Have a great night. Thank you again.
You too.
Take care. All right. See how easy this is? Now it's getting juicy at the late hour of the 9:15. I think that he was clearly on his phone. But you know what, man? The closer to his face, the more I liked him. I thought that all is good. Sauce, baby. Super fan. You have to have faith. Dude, listen, absolutely. That is like the whole reason why we're fans, right? We want our team to be amazing and to win it all. And that's what we're hoping for, in the coming years. We want to be one of those teams at the end of the season that has a legit shot to win the title. Listen, man, it's funny. Like we had 2 calls before your brilliant little mind of yours came through on the clutch, and we had 2 more calls. So I have to say thank you very, very much. I'm looking forward to having that link in the chat right at the beginning of the show starting next Sunday. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this episode. As always, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the support and all of you guys coming in and hanging out with me. It means the world to me, and I just love talking Jets football, obviously. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thanks for all of the new callers to the show tonight. Hope you guys have a great week. Go Jets. And I will see you guys next time. Word from my daughter. See you Wednesday night.